Alright, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Spoilers, I'm going to spoil everything through this movie. Alright, first a little bit of a summary from IMDb. At the dawn of King T'Challa's death, invading forces from around the world target Wakanda's vibranium, unleashing chaos. And it will be the duty of Shuri, M'Baku, Nakia, and Okoye to defend the nation, especially when a mysterious Mexican civilization emerges from the depths of the sea. Now, this is apparently the 30th MCU movie of all time, which is just like, wow, I can't believe there are so many movies. And it is also the final movie of MCU's Phase 4. As of the day I'm recording this, the movie has made $545 million worldwide, which makes it the 8th biggest movie of the year. And it's still in theaters and people are still seeing it, so we'll see if it climbs even farther. I saw this movie a couple days after it came out, and then I saw it again a few days later with some coworkers. And so I do have many thoughts after watching it twice. Let's start off with what I liked about the movie, and I will say first of all that it is pretty astonishing that this movie even exists at all. As many of you will know, Chadwick Boseman actually died, unfortunately, before this movie could be filmed, and so the filmmakers were left with doing the best that they could without him. Apparently they had planned this whole other version of the movie which had Chadwick Boseman in it, and it is pretty rough when you think about it because they had to write the movie once, then Chadwick Boseman dies. Ryan Coogler, who's the writer-director, was actually pretty close with Chadwick Boseman, and so you have to mourn his loss. And then you have to rewrite the movie and then film it and have it still be compelling and still work and meet up with all the expectations that the original movie set. What a massive roller coaster of emotions that must have been. And in my book, the fact that we even got a movie that is halfway decent, let alone as good as it actually turned out to be, is pretty remarkable. In the movie itself, I think they do a pretty good job of handling Chadwick Boseman's death. They didn't take what could have been some of the easier ways out of recasting him or trying to recreate him with CGI. No, they face it head on. They say, we've lost him, the people in the movie have also lost him, and so we're going to mourn him together through the act of this movie. And they do a pretty good job of making a compelling movie even without him in it. Now, there's still a void, of course, and how could there not be? But I like what the movie does, which is really doubles down on it and shows the characters feeling that void and how they deal with it. And yeah, there definitely is some emotional impact, I have to say, especially the ending where they show the different clips of Chadwick Boseman, opening credits scene as well, where, you know, they have the Marvel logo, which is normally showing like all the different Avengers characters. And here it's just images of Chadwick Boseman, and it is emotional. Beyond how they handled the loss of Black Panther, I have to say that there were a lot of other great things about this movie. One is just the quality of the production and some of the action. I'm not exactly sure if this movie had more budget than the original movie, but I did think that there was a step up taken in just the overall production quality. Like, I still remember the original Black Panther movie where at the end you have this battle between T'Challa and Killmonger, and just the CGI was not quite up to snuff. Felt like maybe they ran out of movie when they were trying to edit that scene. But here in this new movie, I think that the visual spectacle was pretty much top-notch all the way through. Now, unfortunately, I have to say that the screen in the theater that I was watching the movie in was a little bit blurry, so I didn't necessarily get a chance to appreciate all the visual spectacle the first time around. You know, at this point, I'm a pretty frequent moviegoer, and I always go to the same theater, and so I actually know what each auditorium in that theater is like. I'm pretty sure that the last time I saw a movie in this theater, which is theater number 12, it was also blurry, so I should just avoid that one. In fact, I'm a pretty big movie nerd, so I should probably just create a list of different auditoriums in all the theaters and just which ones I like the best. That would be pretty extreme, but maybe I should do it. Anyway, some other specific things I liked about the overall quality and action. I really liked that fight scene on the bridge with Okoye and the people from Underwater. Is a pretty thrilling fight sequence, well choreographed, imaginative. I liked the ending fight sequence where you have the juxtaposition between everyone fighting on that ship thing and then the new Black Panther and Namor fighting on the desert. And there's all sorts of just little imaginative touches, such as the bombs that are made of water. Something I've never seen on screen before, but I thought that was pretty cool. So just, I like how they managed to make this movie visually interesting and exciting and distinct both from the original movie and also some of the other movies like this out there. Another thing I really liked is the Namor storyline and character. I like how his whole set of people is somewhat parallel to Wakanda in some ways, and that he has some similar-ish motivations to Killmonger in the first movie, but it's not the same. It's not just a carbon copy. He's got his own twist put on it. And how, yes, he's an antagonist and he is against the Wakandans for a lot of the movie, but you can kind of understand his motivations. I really love how they visualize the underwater world of Talokan. The design, how they show the inhabitants. Hollywood does seem to be getting better and better at doing stuff underwater, which I think is a technical feat. I don't know all that goes into it, but I think it's much harder to do stuff underwater than above water. It is worth noting that in a few weeks, we're about to get another movie with a bunch of underwater blue people. So it will be interesting to see how that compares with this one. I think the way that they visualized the Namor character himself was pretty great. They even have the winged feet on him, which I'm not a huge comic book person, but apparently this is something very important about his character in the comics, and it could have come across as really silly, but the way that they visualized it I thought was pretty effective. Another thing that I really liked about this movie was actually the Ironheart character. When Hollywood usually portrays like tech genius teenagers, it's usually a white male. So I really love the choice of putting a black female in this role, which will hopefully help break some of the stereotypes out there. Apparently this is an entirely different and well-known character named Ironheart. She's gonna get her own show, which will be pretty exciting to see. So I will be looking forward to that. And then the final thing I'll call out that I really liked about this movie was the soundtrack. The composer is a guy named Ludwig Göransson. He is Swedish. He did the original Black Panther soundtrack, and he also did the soundtrack for movies such as Tenet and for shows such as The Mandalorian. And actually for that original Black Panther score, he won the Academy Award in 2018. So some of those other scores are some of my favorite of all time. Like, you know how Spotify does that year review where they show you all the, top songs that you listened to that year? Well, a couple of years ago, a lot of the songs from that Tenet soundtrack were making it to the top of the list, which just shows you my taste in music. But anyway, Ludwig Göransson has such a unique style that he brings to all these scores. It's different from the John Williams and the Howard Shores of the world. Some of my favorites from this movie are the title track Wakanda Forever, which is the song that I think they used during the introduction of Shuri as the new Black Panther. It's really great. It has this like synth type twist to it. And then I like some of the more unique choices he made throughout the movie, such as the song that plays as you are entering Talocan. It's a song called Con la Brisa. It's just a unique and different choice, which I would not have expected, but that also somehow fits the vibe that they were going for. All right, so that's what I liked about the movie. What would I change? Well, I'm not sure there's actually much I would change about the movie, but I'll talk about a couple of common criticisms out there. The first being the length and just how much they tried to pack into this movie. This movie comes in at 2 hours and 41 minutes, which is pretty long for a movie. Usually movies are about 2 hours long. So there's a lot of people out there saying that the movie is pretty bloated, that they should probably cut out like 20 or 30 minutes from the movie. This isn't really something that I thought about watching the movie, but in retrospect, I can kind of see what those people meant. But after I saw the movie again and really just had time to soak into it, my conclusion is that the length is fine. I like everything that they put in it. There's nothing really in the movie that I think they should have definitely cut out. So yes, the movie takes a little longer to get to where it's trying to go, but I think that's completely okay. The second criticism that I see out there is that the people from Talocan and the people from Wakanda should not be fighting each other. They should instead be fighting with each other against the oppressors. On the one hand, I kind of get this criticism. It is kind of disappointing to see these two groups fighting against each other where they have so much in common. On the other, it's not completely out of left field that the movie would have made this choice. For one, you just have the realities of a movie that you need an antagonist and a protagonist. But on the other hand, if you really wanted to read into it, you could see it as a commentary on how oppressed peoples are sometimes pitted against each other in real life. And the fact that they do eventually find their way to working with each other at the end of the movie does make this whole story work for me. All right, so what did I think about the movie overall? Well, as I said, I think that this movie is pretty remarkable overall just for its sheer existence and also the fact that it is pretty good at the end of the day. So for that reason, I'm going to give the movie 4 out of 5 stars. Does it reach the heights of the original Black Panther movie? No, I don't think so. But then again, what really could? That original movie was a cinematic milestone. I had never seen anything quite like it at the time. There were a bunch of obstacles that had to be overcome to make this new movie, and so I don't even know if it's really fair to compare them to each other. So with that, if you have any opinions about the movie, I would love to see you post in the comments below. As always, if you liked this video, hit the like button, which will help others find it, and subscribe for more. Peace.